Hello everybody and welcome to your next Android development tutorial. Sorry for not making a video in a while. If you haven't seen my updated videos, then basically I was busy, but now I am free. So there's going to be tons of tutorials coming your way, so look forward to that. So now for the next few tutorials, it's gonna be fun. We're actually gonna be making Android we're gonna be doing Android development and making little simple apps. Now the reason for this, simple, like basic, like hello world things, maybe showing an image on the screen, but like very basic. And the reason I'm doing this is for you to get familiar with the syntax of XML and the syntax of the Android development using Java. The reason why I'm doing this is because a lot of people have come to me and saying that they know how to code it, but they don't, they have difficulty with like XML. They've been they have problems getting programs started, linking different activities together, and it just becomes a problem for everybody, because the Android is can be a very complicated thing to code for if you really don't know the ins and outs of Android. So what I'm trying to do is that my aim is to try and get you guys to know the ins and outs, how a program actually runs to the core, and then once you learn how it runs to the T, then all you have to do is know the syntax and know what the syntax does in order to make some awesome applications. So anyways, in this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you about the text view, and about layouts, and basically about Android, using the XML to actually design the screen. So if we go down to layout in our layout folder and main.xml, and we want to double click that. Now before we even start, we want to go to Window, AVD Manager, and we want to click our emulator, and we want to start it. Click start the emulator, and then click launch to launch your emulator. And if you want to scale it down, it will be better so it won't take up your entire screen. Cause we want to do that so when it boots up, by the time we want to run our application, so it should look something like this. So anyways, if we go to our main.xml and we go to graphical layout, now in the last few tutorials I showed you that you could do a lot of these things right here, and you could drag and drop them in, but it's the main.xml that actually does the coding for it to show up there. So sometimes you might be going in the graphical layout and saying dragging and dropping. So if I drag and drop this here, then if you notice the main.xml, it shows spinner, gives it an ID, a width, and a height, right? And it's good that it does that for you, because sometimes you want to do layout the graphics itself, but it's also good to understand what is going on with your XML, because most of the time you don't want these three attributes there. You're going to want to have more than just three attributes. You might want to do different things. Like, look for the text view. The text view basically is the view that we use to display text. So it says hello world, I'm coding made easy. Now for you guys it doesn't say that. I believe it just says hello world, but I'll show you how to modify that later. But for you it says that hello world, and this is a text right here. But say I wanted to change the text size or the text color, or say I wanted to change anything else, I don't know, the font or something else, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna just use these three properties or these three attributes. I'm gonna want to use more. So in order to understand how attributes work, then we have to be able to work with the XML file, and in order to design it, then we have to be able to use the actual graphical layout as well, right? And then when we go to our actual source code, then we tell all this what to do. So then the XML basically does the graphics for us, right, to make it look good, and the source code tells what looks good what to do, tells each function what to do. So it tells when to activate, tells it when it's inactive, tells it when to show certain things, blah blah blah. Like so, let us delete this spinner right here, and let's just look at the text view. Now XML is built up of views, okay? So even though before it said spinner and all that stuff, all of these are made out of different views, okay? So the text view, simple enough, is to display text to the screen. Now, in our text view, before we get to this, we see linear layout all right here. And you're asking, what is a linear layout? Well, the linear layout is just a layout that we're going to be displaying to the screen, the type of layout. So we say that the layout width is fill parent, though the layout height is fill parent, and the parent in this case is the actual screen. So it's going to fill the screen, and the orientation is vertical. You said it's a vertical, horizontal, or both. So like if I don't think the word is both. I'd have to check what it is. But if the orientation is horizontal, then it will show your application horizontally. And if it's vertical, then it will show it vertically. And if it's set to both, or whatever the name is, then it will display it whichever way that the person or the player, whatever, has tilted the screen, the application will change to that orientation, and it will adjust it accordingly. So let's look at the now one thing we should notice quickly is that we have our linear layout, but we want to display things within the linear layout, right? So then that's why at the end we have / linear layout. Now for those of you who have coded in XML right now, all of you are like, yeah, this is a breeze, because it seems just like HTML, right? So for you who have coded in HTML, you guys are gonna have an easier time with the XML syntax using Android. So we have / linear layout, which means that the linear layout is done, right? But if we look at the text view, we see that we don't have a / and then it says text view right here. It just has a / and then another right stream operator to show that it's the end of the text view. Now you're saying, why can't linear layout do that? So say I was to do / right here. That means it's the end of the linear layout, and that means the text view is not within the linear layout. So to make the text view within the linear layout, then we do it right here. Now I believe you could still do / like this to describe the end of the linear layout, like so. I'm not sure if you could do that, but even if you could, it would be better to do linear layout like this, just to let you know what you're putting an end to, so it doesn't get too confusing with your code. So that's the reason why it's like that. Now let's look at our text view. We say the layout width is fill parent, and our parent in this case is a linear layout. And since the parent width is set to fill parent, which is the screen width, then it fits the whole width of the screen. Now the layout height is equal to wrap content, and what wrap content does is it wraps it into the view's actual size, the amount of size that you actually need for it. So in this case, if we go to our graphical layout, it says hello world, I'm coding made easy. Now say the font size is say 16. It knows to make a view that is only that size, and the content height is equal to wrap content. So it only wraps it into this certain area, and the width is set to the screen width. So then we draw nothing beside it or anything. So that's the reason why we have wrap content. Now if I was to say put the height as fill parent, so if I put fill _ parent and I save that, and we look at the graphical layout, then when we click coding made easy, as you notice, it takes up the whole screen. The text doesn't change size, it's just that our current text view, our view takes up the whole rest of the screen height, which is not what we want. So sorry, so if we go to main.xml and I do undo and I change that, then it will change it back to normal. Now for a text, you're like, what is this right here? You don't have to do this. Say this is the correct format to do this, but say I cut that and I put hello world. I could do that if I save it, and then if I go to graphical layout, it will change the hello world. But that is not the correct way to do things using XML. And you might be saying, oh man, it's the easy way. I know, but the easy way is not always the best way to do things. And notice you'll get a warning right there. If you do it that way, it'll still work, you'll just get a warning. So let's look at what we had before. So we had @string/test. So what I want you to do is to go to the values folder, click the arrow to make it show strings.xml. So if you click that, and we go to resources. Now notice that we have test, we have hello, which is what you guys have. When in your main.xml file, it's gonna say @string/hello. Mine says @string/test because I created a new one. So if we go to here, we see hello, app_name, and we see test. So what I did was I clicked add, click string, and then I put the name of the string. So let's name this test2 and say this is a test. Now the name is the name we're going to identify it by, and the value is what you're actually going to be replacing it with. So the value is what's actually going to show up on the Android screen. So if I do this and I save it, so we have test2 right here. If we go right to main.xml and I change this to @string/test2 and I save that, if we look at our graphical layout, we see this is a test. So that's an alternate way of doing or drawing things to the screen. So if you go to strings.xml and you want to change it, hello world, coding made easy, Android activity, whatever. If you want to change what it says by default, just change the value and then click Control S or Command S to save it, and then it will show up on your actual Android. So what we want to do is that we want to right click right here and click Run as Android application just to see it on the actual emulator. And let's see if we can get it going here. And let me see how much time I have. Okay, so if it doesn't work right away, okay, so as you can see here, it says Coding Made Easy Android, cause yeah, that's the name of the project, and it says this is a test. So just like it displays right here, it's gonna display in your actual application. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Sorry it was kind of long, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot, and thanks for watching, and bye.